Okay, well, you know, what happens is when you go into business, you're scared. Everybody's scared, you know, right? How many people are scared when they go into business?
Nobody's going to raise them.
Well, it's true. You're scared. You know what happens is, and then you're scared when you're in business. Because what happens is when you're in business, you have so many bad habits, you say, I'm no longer employable. How can I ever work for somebody else again in my whole life? It's true, you know. When that business failed, I was scared that I couldn't work for anybody. I came and went when I want, and I listened to no orders. Who's going to hire me, you know? So what happens is you have this fright when you first go into business. And it's a fellow who used to write years ago, Wilson Harrell, used to call it entrepreneurial fear. We all have it. We're afraid we won't succeed in business. So we take a giant risk by going into business. We leave jobs that we might have had. We leave family companies. There's a whole bunch of things that we do. And we take this risk, those of us who finally go along that path to take this risk. And now, all of a sudden, we have a business. We build it. We're making a decent living, right? And we have to take an additional risk, the next risk. And a lot of people don't want to take that risk, that second risk, to build their company to the next stage, because it entails possibly putting part of what they have at risk. And it becomes a bigger risk, because the first risk is usually not your money. It's Rolodex financing, friends, relatives, the proverbial doctor who might give you some money. You know, you beg, borrow, and steal whatever money to go into business. This time it's your money, you know. And so a lot of people are afraid to take that next risk to get to that next stage of business. And there's nothing wrong with it. Lots of people are very satisfied with the business they have and the growth in the business they have. But in order to get to the next step, they have to take that additional risk.
So you're saying that it sounds like you're also saying that the risk profile of an entrepreneur changes over time. In a sense, they're willing to take a greater risk. They may not realize it at the time when they start a business, but yet, let's say 5, 10 years down the road, they're more established. You know, let's say they're in 7 figures.
There's no risk. You have nothing when you start, and so what are you risking? Maybe other people's money, you know, so your father-in-law won't talk to you for a few years, you know. But it's a bigger risk. You've built something, and the risk that you're taking at that stage is more real than the first risk you took. And I don't want to minimize the first risk that anybody takes, because that's a giant step in itself. As a matter of fact, I look at the next stage as less of a giant step, because you're already proven you've done it once. But it is a big risk, and people do not want to take that risk.